report of actions taken in closed session, and for that we turn to clerk, Trustee Belcher.
Okay, we just have one action taken in closed session on a vote of 7-0. The board approved the appointment of Dr. David Bouguet as acting Vice Chancellor of Business Services.
Thank you. At this point, we invite you to stand for an invocation to be led by Trustee Padberg, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance to be led by Trustee Pointless.
Please join with me in prayer. Dear Lord, we ask for your guidance over these proceedings this evening. Guide us as we make our decisions. We thank you for our beautiful campuses, our capable faculty, and our eager students. Bless all our servicemen and women all over the world who are fighting to preserve freedom and basic human rights for all. We ask for your guidance and assistance in the current crisis between North and South Korea. Dear Lord, please give us your leadership and blessings as we make our decisions tonight. All this we pray in your name. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, I ask you to join me in saluting our national banner. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We're now at the public comments section of the evening, and Madam Secretary, any requests to speak?
There are none.
All right. We will now move to board reports, and as always, start with Trustee Whit.
Yes. The only thing I'd like to say is welcome, Dixie. Looking forward to working with you. And David, congrats on being a business manager now. Thank you. No report.
Trustee Milcher, sorry.
Thanks. First of all, welcome Acting President Bullock, Acting Chancellor Bullock, excuse me. I just thought I'd talk about a speech I made at the graduation of the medical assistance program at Saddleback College. And this was the largest medical assistant program graduation that we've ever held at Saddleback College. There were 52 graduates. And these are students that are learning to be back office, work in a back office or a front office, or do both in a doctor's office. And I knew about this program even before I was on the Board of Trustees, because my husband's a physician in the area, and he used some of these medical assistants when they were interns in his office, and then he would hire them if they worked out in his office as full-time employees. And this worked out so well that he didn't even need the interns anymore, because he filled his office staff up with the interns. But it was a really excellent way for him to see how the medical assistants would work out in his office, and if they worked out well, he would hire them as his full-time employees. And it's also a really excellent way for these students to get jobs in the community. So these are jobs that are in the community now, in doctors' offices, and our students don't have to go to school that long to get these jobs, and it's a wonderful program. So I thought I would just bring one more vocational program to your attention. That's a successful program that we have at Saddleback College.
Thank you. And we're going to be taking something a little bit different.
Yeah.
Let me ask for her report for Trustee Padberg, and to be joined by Trustee Lang, to go on down to the podium down there, and we can get a better shot and maybe hear a little better what you've got for us.
Is this on? Do you hear us?
It is on.
Trustee Lang and I attended the City of Mission Viejo meeting, I believe it was April 29th, when they honored Saddleback College for their Veterans Memorial. And several items were presented to us, and we wanted to share those with you. So I'm going to take a couple, and then we'll have Trustee Lang take a couple. This is a certificate from Honorable Gary Miller, of the United States Congress, Certificate of Congressional Recognition presented to Saddleback College in celebration of the Saddleback College Veterans Memorial. Your recognition of our nation's veterans and military personnel is highly commendable.
The next proclamation that was issued was by the city of Mission Viejo, their city council, and basically a proclamation for the Saddleback College Veterans Memorial, whereas Saddleback College Veterans Memorial was built to honor community members, students, and college faculty and staff who have served in America's armed forces, and whereas this memorial is currently the most significant tribute to veterans at any college campus in the nation, and whereas through the vision of Professor and Art Department Chair Richard White and Fred Olson, a local artist, they designed the memorial using a fire-in-place ceramics technique, which consists of firing large, hollow sculptures too large to fit in conventional kilns, and whereas Saddleback College Memorial is being funded through donations to the Saddleback College Foundation, and they have raised more than $170,000 so far for this memorial, and whereas Saddleback College Veterans Memorial will proudly display the first American flag ever flown over the United States Embassy in Vietnam. Now, therefore, I, Trish Kelly, by virtue of the authority vested in me as mayor of the city of Mission Viejo, and on behalf of the city council, do hereby proclaim that on April 29th, 2010, be the day the dedication of for the Saddleback College Veterans Memorial, and do hereby recognize the efforts and contributions of the Saddleback College students, professors, administrators, staff, and community members in crediting this impressive Veterans Memorial to honor all of our veterans, dated April 29th, 2010. And I think we ought to get our college president, Dr. Todd Burnett, up here to accept this proclamation.
Actually, Todd was there with us tonight, and he accepted some, as did both Dave and myself. Here's the one. I'll give it back to you from Gary Miller. And then the next thing we have to share with you are actually, again, from Gary Miller, and there are two flags flown over the United States Capitol, one on April 29th and one on April 22nd, flown to celebrate the grand opening of Saddleback College Veterans Memorial, which is dedicated to advancing educational services to military personnel. So this is the same thing, but flown April 29th, dedicated to Saddleback College in honor of our nation's courageous military family of veterans and military personnel. Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Photo op here. Okay. So we thought it was important to share this with everyone. Thank you.
Thank you to all of you for attending that and sharing that with us. Anything further to report, Trustee Padberg? No. All right, and I have no report for this evening. Trustee Fuentes.
In light of time, no report.
Thank you. Trustee Lang, anything to add?
No, I'll also not make a board report this evening.
Thank you. And Student Trustee Shea.
No board reports.
All right, let me turn to Acting Chancellor Bullock and see if she's got a report.
I just want to say thank you to the members of the board for their unanimous support of my appointment and to give me the opportunity to work with this wonderful faculty, staff, administration, and especially the students. So thank you very much, all of you.
Thank you. All right, quick housekeeping detail. I have been asked, and it is a request I will honor, to advance item 9.1, which is the accreditation reports, and they are here to us for the second time. We had them last month, and what is the phrase we're using here for acceptance? And so they've been moved and seconded. Discussion on the item. Hearing none, let's vote on acceptance. And carries unanimously. Thank you. Let me turn to the consent calendar and ask if there are items to be pulled from the consent calendar. Trustee Padberg.
5.17.
5.17. Trustee Lang. All right, anyone else? Might I suggest, go ahead, Trustee Fuentes.
5.12, please.
5.12, all right. Was that the one you were looking for, Trustee Lang, or no? I'll give you a second. No problem. While you're looking for that, why don't we go ahead and deal with one of the ones that has been pulled, and then we'll come back to you before we deal with the balance. Let's try 5.17, pulled by Trustee Padberg, the trustee requests for conferences. Go ahead.
Yes, I request that this item be divided so that it can be voted separately. There are two conference requests, one that's here local and then one that's in Florida. Surprise, surprise.
All right, let's take the one that's here local first, assuming that sails through without any discussion. Any discussion on that item? I'll entertain a motion to approve
So moved.
that one separately. All right, moved and seconded. No discussion. Let's vote on that item. All right, it carries unanimously. I'll entertain a motion to approve the STEM Tech Conference.
Move approval.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All right, discussion on that item. Trustee Padberg.
Again, we have a conference on the opposite coast that's expensive and consistent people who want to go to the same place. So I think this is just inappropriate.
All right, seeing no further discussion, let's go ahead and vote on that item. Matter carries with one no vote. Trustee Lang would like to pull 518, all right. All right. Okay. 518 has been pulled for purposes of abstention. I hear a motion. I believe that is a motion to approve the balance. Moved and second to approve the balance of the consent items, and let's vote on that, seeing no request to speak. Trustee Fuentes.
Oh, except 5.12.
Oh, no. Let me be clear. We are voting on the balance of the consent calendar items that have not been pulled. 512 is off. 518 is off. 517 was off, but has separately been approved already. So it's the balance of the items, unless there's another one you'd like to pull.
Voting on the balance of the consent calendar.
Correct. The consent calendar items that have not been. All right, let's clear. Let's clear it. All right. We are voting on the balance of the consent items that have not been pulled. All right. That carries unanimously. Now, let's do 512.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, sir.
512. Item number 23, I believe in both.
Your mic, please.
Oh, it's on.
It's on.
We
Okay.
can't hear you.
Item number 23 in the listing of Saddleback College for memberships, the Office of the Academic Senate, membership of the Academic Senate of the California Community Colleges, and for Irvine Valley Academic Senate for California Community Colleges, two expenditures. I've asked for some additional information, and I don't want to hold up the approval of the rest of this item, but I would like to give administration the opportunity to get us those answers between now and our next meeting. So I would like to divide this question, I guess would be the easiest way to do it, so we can just postpone this one, ask that it come back next month. With the rest of it, we can move forward with. And I would move the balance other than point 23, which I would seek to divide.
All right. Moved and seconded, and I think that's easily enough done, dividing the question. So let's go ahead and discuss the rest of the items, not the two that have been pulled. And let me ask Trustee Padberg, would you like to speak to the balance of the items?
I'd like to know exactly which two numbers were pulled. He said 23, and then he flipped over to Irvine Valley.
All right. So hang on. I'll answer the question.
Have him answer?
I don't think you heard.
23.
That's right. I'm asking for clarification.
Saddleback College is number 23, which is on page 2 of 9 of the
Right.
exhibit. And Irvine Valley College's exhibit A, page 6 of 9, also line 23.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Those are the two that are divided
Right.
out.
Okay.
Okay. Now that we're clear, is there a motion to approve the balance of the items?
Yes.
And a second. Thought as much. No discussion. Let's vote on the balance of the items. All right. Those carry unanimously. We have two items that have been pulled. Is it the request of Trustee Fuentes that they be tabled?
Just, I guess, postponed or tabled specifically till next month,
Okay.
till the administration can get us, report those information points on, that we can approve it then, appropriate.
All right. Trustee Padberg, before I hear a motion to table, now that I'm clear what you want to do, let me ask, since that's a non-debatable motion, Trustee Padberg.
I intend to make the motion.
Okay.
It's stated as a motion. I'm making the motion. You just
Okay.
stated.
There's a motion to table. Is it seconded?
Second.
Moved and seconded. That's undebatable. Let's vote on tabling these items. Trustee Jay, please. And the matter carries on a 6-2 vote. All right, we are not through with the consent calendar. Item 518 is here. Not
Not
5.
really, no. Move approval.
No. Which,
Oh, no, we didn't. You're right.
There's an abstention on this.
my mistake. Trustee Lang, which item do you want to abstain from?
518. I'm going to abstain from the entire item. It's probably just easier.
518 is just to ratify contracts. Okay. That's good. It's here for ratification, and it's moved. Is there a second? Let's vote on the item. All right, carries with one abstention. I hope it gets easier. All right, we are at item 6.1.
Move approval.
Is there a second? All right, honorary degree awards. Any discussion?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Whoever's
Well,
first, go ahead.
I got Trustee Milchster first.
Yeah, I will approve of these items. I just wondered if we should have a board policy on granting honorary.
We do.
It follows the board policy?
Mhm.
Okay. Well, then I will vote to approve this item. Thank you.
All right. And Trustee Williams, did you want?
I just wanted to note that Mr. Osher, I believe, is in this. President Burnett, he's not the one. You worked in Sacramento with helping obtain that grant, correct? Very generous man. If you'd read the background information, very worthy of an honorary degree. Thank you. That's all I wanted to say.
Absolutely. All right. See no comments, further comments, let's vote on the item. Matter carries unanimously. Item 6.2.
Move approval.
Is there a second? Second. Discussion? All right, let's vote on the item. And matter carries unanimously. 6.3, board policy revision. It's here for discussion or approval. I'll entertain a motion on either.
Second.
Whoa. It's here for discussion or approval. So is the motion to move to approve? Very good. Moved and seconded to approve. Discussion. Seeing none, let's vote. Matter carries unanimously. I wish Dixie would stop slowing us down. We're at 6.4, here for review and study. This is the district's initial proposal to the Police Officers Association.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion? Seeing none, let's vote. Matter carries unanimously. 6.5, academic personnel action items here for approval. Any? All right. Is there a second? Moved and seconded. Trustee Williams.
I'd request we divide this for two separate votes, one on the listed items separating out the academic dean position for a separate vote, please.
Where are you?
The item page 3 of 3B as in Bravo 1.
Second.
All right. No problem with dividing the question on that one. Let's Trustee Lang? All right. Let's vote on, well, first of all, discussion on the balance of the items and leave B1 out. Seeing none, let's vote. Trustee Padberg. Try again. Matter carries unanimously. All right, we're at B1, which has been divided out. This is the, well, push your button.
I do, it's on.
Turn your mic.
I see it.
It's now. All right.
Mic's on? Okay.
Now, go ahead. Go ahead.
This issue was discussed, as we all know, board members, months ago. Before it was to be brought back, we were to receive additional information. We haven't received any additional information that I know of, and it was kind of a surprise that I saw it on the agenda. Therefore, I'm going to move to table it for a month so that we can receive the information we were told would be forthcoming when we discussed it before.
What additional information? And maybe it can be given to you.
Justification for the position, funding sources, all of that. I'd like a report on why we're establishing a new administrator position. And that was going to be coming to the board after we discussed it the last time. So I moved to table.
Hearing no second, Trustee Padberg.
I'd like to know what the cost of this position is. That's utmost importance to me, and how you intend to fund the cost.
The trustees have approved the budget. Now, I think August would be the third year in a row. We have abolished an administrative position and have made room in the budget for that. So there's no net increase to our budget. In fact, a little bit of savings. For the exact dollar amount, I believe it's starting at one of the lower steps, but if you need a number, I believe Vice President Justice could provide that.
Yes, please.
Good evening. The cost of a step one dean is approximately it's approximately $110,000, but we did eliminate another manager, so the net increase is much smaller than that.
Can you tell me what management position you eliminated?
Yes, it was a classified manager that was a facilities manager of the Performing Arts Center, and that job is now being covered by the Dean of Fine Arts very effectively.
Okay.
Thank you. And it's been in the budget that we've approved for 2 years now?
August would be the third year. Yeah.
Okay. Trustee Fuentes.
Mr. President. You moved a little fast there. I was a little slow. Trustee Williams moved to table, and you indicated that there wasn't a second, and so we moved on. It was my intention to second his motion to table. I have not received adequate information on this position to be satisfied to vote on it today, and I think that we need that time. This is serious, and so, John, might you like to remove?
John does not have the floor at this point.
I move to table this.
And I would ask, let me, okay, you'd ask the table. Let me suggest there are a couple of trustees who would like to speak. I will give you the opportunity before we vote on this to table it again, but there are questions, and it's certainly possible that the president can answer those questions now, or at least get a better idea from the board what those questions are. But you will have the opportunity to table, but I'd ask that the motion not be made at this point, since there are other trustees looking to speak.
Out of courtesy, I'll certainly do that.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Trustee Padberg.
Well, I have my questions answered, and I had pushed the button so that I could make the motion to approve. But I fully expect that there'll be a motion to table, so.
I would ask for the same reason that you hold off on that motion.
That's fine, no problem.
Trustee Williams.
Are there any trustees waiting to speak after?
Actually, I have a couple of questions of the president to maybe.
I have nothing to say. I'll wait.
To maybe.
Motion to table.
But I would ask, if there are questions that the trustees have, perhaps they can be addressed now. With respect to the job duties of this dean and where it fits in the service that IVC is attempting to offer, I mean, what is the compelling need, if any, for this position at this time with increased enrollments, but also a troubled economy.
Okay, very good. An important point to recognize is that this position in its older form existed back in 1997 and prior to that. It was abolished at the college at that time. I think there was personnel matters related to that abolishment. It reports directly to the Vice President for Instruction. Almost immediately after that time, I became Vice President for Instruction. And so I learned over a 5-year period how critical that position was in terms of helping with the enrollment management and the fiscal portion of the instructional budget to go smoothly. It's an extremely busy office in the Office of Instruction. Now, since that time, all those duties went to the VPI, and I tell you, it was tough to do, and a lot of this has been spread out fairly ineffectively over time. What has changed and why now? Many things have changed. There's a number of mandates that have come forward from the state having to do with SLOs. We're now no longer doing accreditation on a 6-year cycle. We're doing it on a yearly cycle. So we're building all of these elements in. We're now required to do strategic planning and having budget tied to strategic planning. So the budget process is now completely transparent. We have, in the last 3 years, grown from 12,000 students to now 16,000 students. And there needs to be support to handle that amount of growth that we're realizing. In collecting some data, we found that our college ranks 97 out of 112 if you look at a ratio of administrators to students that we serve, 97 being a very low number. And in fact, by adding this dean position, we move down to 91 out of 112. So we are very much under-administered for the number of students that we serve, and with the growth being so exponential, that office really does need help in order to help us meet all of the demands that I've mentioned. Some that I haven't. Basic skills. There's a whole number of things that have come at us that need to be managed appropriately. And so this is the position of 10 years ago, modernized to the new demands, accompanied with the new students that we have. Now, in terms of budgets, I've been your president for 9 years now, and I have maintained a solid budget, and I watch it very closely, and I have a budget manager who makes sure that I watch it very closely, and that's David. So he has made all of the appropriate calculations for the 50% law, for where this fits into our budget, and being able to manage a balanced budget and have a proper reserve, that we do have a substantial reserve just for that rainy day. And because this position has been in the books for almost 3 years now, it is in a secure place, and we have done our planning for budget reductions outside of that. It's in a secure place. All of the other work has been done as an ancillary. And so we feel confident that it's a good financial move. It's a great move for the college. All of the councils on the campus have reviewed it and recommended the position to me to bring to you for approval.
Thank you. Trustee Lang.
Yes, I certainly, appreciate the fact that the responsibilities perhaps for this office have increased over time. I guess what I'm also concerned about at the same time, budget-wise, is where are we putting our priorities? Is this taking away from classes that could be offered to students because we've got an additional administrative position? Should there be more money that the college is putting towards scheduled maintenance instead of asking for additional funds through basic aid? And then I guess the third question that I would have on this would be, how does this compare with Saddleback? And I'd perhaps like to hear from President Burnett, because my understanding is that the ratio of administration was even higher at Saddleback, even higher at Saddleback than it was in IVC. Maybe I'm mistaken, I'm not sure. I'd like to hear something about that.
Okay, do you want me to address first?
Sure.
Okay, great. Again, in terms of the classes, it goes back to what I mentioned, that in the budget, this is a set aside. It's in there and protected. So we have the resources to offer all of the courses that we have demand for. The thing that we'll be facing soon, though, is the number of classrooms that we have that are available to put students into. That'll be our limiting factor. So we do have that ability to make our demand for classes. In terms of schedule maintenance, I believe you might be referring to the initial budget, the preliminary budget that you saw. I have reviewed your concerns with my budget manager, and you'll be seeing that actually in the budget in August, and it is well taken care of. It's just that it was not in that preliminary budget at this time, but it will be there in August. So we've been able to, again, through planning, we can schedule the need for maintenance and repairs outside of the budget place for this dean position.
Okay. President Burnett.
Well, first, in answer to your question about the study that was done, yes, Saddleback College is about 106 out of the 112 colleges. And frankly, now with our enrollment growth, I believe it's even higher. That hits both our colleges even higher. That was a report done over a year ago.
So are you planning on asking us for this position also?
Well, that's the second part of your question. First, it's my understanding of the position that at Saddleback we do things differently. We're two different colleges. If you recall, last year we hired and brought back a position, Director of Planning, Research, and Grants, that we brought back. And it was an old position once again that was done away with, and it's been highly successful. So my understanding is some of the responsibilities, it looks like, in particular research, we did that. We took that away from our VPI and gave it over to a director that is an academic administrator, just doesn't happen to be a dean, but pretty close position. And that person actually reports directly to me. As far as the other, I can't speak to directly about the other formats, but hopefully that helps.
I guess two comments just
sure.
To come back to that. Have we not then looked at that alternative model at IVC, A, and B, would not, if you're planning on coming back to us with a revised budget in August, would that not be the time? I mean, it would make sense to me then to table this item now, bring it back in August, look at it in conjunction with the revised budget numbers.
In terms of the affordability or using a different type of model?
Just really looking, yes, both looking at, is there an alternative way to handle it? And it seems to me you've probably already done some of that now, I suspect.
Well, the primary distinction between a dean and a manager is the interaction with faculty and courses and curriculum. And so that is an academic administrator. This position is an academic administrator. The position will be working with the academic deans, the programmatic deans, department deans, if you will, in terms of helping with the enrollment management model, as well as early college, which is just doing famously right now. It needs a leader. And incorporating research into this gives a little bit more capability, we feel, in able to use research for classroom purposes as faculty request that. So that's really the primary distinction there that we're using, and that's why we feel that we need an academic administrator doing this particular assignment, working hand in hand with the VPI.
I just recalled one more thing. You mentioned SLOs, correct? That's working on it? Okay. We have a different model at Saddleback, and where our faculty, actually, we have a full-time position that works out of the Academic Senate, and also our department chairs are heavily involved with coordinating our SLOs. So keep in mind, we're a larger campus, so we are spending money or resources and time. We just do it a different way. So is that about correct? Does that help? Okay. I forgot about the SLO side. So
all right. I'd also like to jump in and suggest that it's certainly unusual for this board to delve as deeply into such a low-level dean position in opposition to what the president has been saying for years we need to do, and has the research to support it, has the budget to support it, that this board has approved 2 years in actuality and a third year at least in tentative form. And when the Chancellor, the acting Chancellor, who's had a chance to take a fresh look at this, has come to us with a recommendation for approval. It's very clear something else is going on here, something that I fear could very well open this board to a legal challenge. I would urge caution on behalf of my colleagues because, you know, this is such a deviation from past practice, and the questions that the board has been asking for quite some time be answered have in fact been answered, that we might want to be very careful about taking some steps that might seem, as I say, to open us to legal challenge, especially as this is a position, not a person. That needs to be kept in mind. Trustee Williams.
I've been on this board 18 years. I was here with the bankruptcy. Trustee Melchiker and I were here when this board is presented with a new administrative position in this economy with record unemployment, teachers being laid off in the community. You bet I'm going to ask about a new administrative position.
Well, then you were asleep at the switch when you approved the budget, if that's your problem, Trustee Williams.
Well, the switch is on then, it's on now, and that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, but the lights aren't on.
Well, my lights are on in front of me. May I speak now, or do you want to continue?
Continue.
Thank you.
I'm just correcting the record.
Tell me when you're done.
Depends on what else you have to say.
I'm not through, but when you're finished.
Well, finish your comments.
I will.
Thank you.
As I said, we have record unemployment, more teachers being laid off in this community than has ever happened. The Orange County bankruptcy affected this district, but by a pool of money. Our very lifeblood in the economy right now is affected, and that's revenue to this district. We have increased student enrollments, has contributed to the decline in basic aid, and this board has some reasonable questions about adding an administrative position. We were told before this would come back to an agenda, we would receive a report. We didn't. We're getting a canned 10-minute presentation on something we should have received well in advance before it came back. This is not good policy. I've asked that it be tabled. I haven't moved to table it out of courtesy to the other trustees. I didn't say I oppose the position. We've just combined a position tonight, a vice chancellor covering a vice chancellor position. I haven't heard anything about a dean covering these dean duties. There's a lot of options here, but I don't want to try and ram this thing through with a very short presentation, something we should have received well in advance. This is the economy we're in. Times are changing. We've got hundreds and hundreds of teachers in our neighborhoods laid off from the K-12s. So the time is different. This is a very important issue. And I think we're setting a bad example by just moving forward without having questions answered and filling an administrative position, a dean. So I have questions. I've requested we table it a month. I want to get more information. I'd like to talk to my chancellor and get some questions answered. But I won't move the table right now. I assume there's more trustees that want to speak.
Thank you. Trustee Jay. Trustee Jay.
Yes, I will support this position. I did not vote for it 6 months ago when it came up, but I think it's essential. I think, Glenn, your justification tonight was well thought out, and I'm aware of all of the criticism, but I think that we add lots of faculty members in this district. We've done it within the last 2 years, for instance, in spite of the fact of a tremendous recession. I think that occasionally, when an administrative position comes up, that we should go ahead with that too. So, Glenn, I will support you.
Trustee Padberg.
Well, I will simply echo what Trustee Jay said. This came up 6 months ago, and it did not have the justification. I haven't yet heard a question that's not been answered, so I don't know what they're looking for. It seems to me that this is a very appropriate position. It puts us in good position with the 50% law. For those who don't know what that is, we have to spend, I believe it's over 50% in the classroom, and this is supporting the classroom. That is our job. So I will support this.
I'll just add that we have got thousands of new students. We've hired hundreds of new teachers. We've not laid off a soul. We're not contemplating laying off a soul. These arguments have been addressed. They are make-weights. They are not serious attacks on this position or on the reasoning of the President, the analysis of the President, or the support we've gotten from the Chancellor. Position deserves to be supported, and we ought not be second-guessing and engaging as we are in this. I see, oh, no, Trustee Fuentes.
I'd like to ask you, Mr. Vice President, you gave figures related to the position itself, but how about to the support elements that go with it? What's the real
yes,
total?
Mr. Fuentes, that's a very good question. Currently, the support elements are reporting to me directly. That's an administrative assistant, senior level, and that person will be shifted to the new office to support the new dean. It will be a staff support of one person. I will also propose to transfer our catalog and schedule coordinator to report to that dean as well, since those are operational matters. So there are no other new positions. It's just a reorganization of my office.
Usually, to my perception, a dean has some people that they direct, faculty, division, a department. This position really isn't a dean. It's an academic administrator. Why wouldn't you just call it what it is?
There are two kinds of deans. That's also a good question. There are two kinds of deans, a staff dean and a line dean. A line dean is a dean of one of our schools, and we have four of those, including student services. This is a staff dean that would do academic work, and I believe we're calling it the same thing, but perhaps I'm not understanding the question as clearly as I could.
Well, I think it's been suggested that this is really an academic administrator, not a dean's position. It ought to be called what it is.
Glenn?
If I may try to help out here a little bit, all deans are academic administrators, as well as the vice presidents and the presidents. The other colleges actually use deans much more than we do, as we're using classified managers. It's an anomaly in this district, but in most colleges they use deans, and as the vice president has mentioned, that could be a staff dean or a dean over a department. But there's nothing in the definition or the practice that requires them to be a dean over a department with faculty and students. Many examples are, in fact, existing examples are in student services, where you find deans of that variety.
Thank you. I'd like to get more information on this, so I therefore move to table.
Second.
Trustee Padberg would still like to speak, and I throw that out to suggest voting against. No? Okay. All right. The motion to table is made and seconded and is non-debatable. Let's vote on the motion to table. The motion to table passes on a 4-3 vote with a one advisory yes to table. All right. We are at item 6.6, classified personnel action items. And any changes to this?
I have one change.
Okay.
On page 11 of 13, the item G1, Mary Williams, her retirement date would actually be effective August 21st and retirement effective August 22nd.
Move it with that correction.
Second.
Further discussion? Let's vote on the item. Matter carries unanimously. Item 7.1, an information item. This is the basic aid report. Discussion? Questions? Item 7.2, another information item, the facilities status report. 7.3, board list of requested reports. 7.4, the retiree trust fund. All right, we are at item 8, which are written reports, and we'll start with President Burnett.
Thank you, Mr. President. First, I just want to thank the board for accepting, I guess is the term we're using, our accreditation report. I'd like to take this opportunity to first thank the board's tremendous support through our entire accreditation process. You may recall the day I walked on this job, I was immediately embroiled in accreditation. We had the midterm progress report, and that was successful. And then we have our self-study report, which has been successful. We are going to have our visiting team in October be successful. And I have to give credit to some wonderful people at our campus. First and foremost, without a doubt, none of this would have been successful if it wasn't for our academic senate. And I would like to right now thank the great work and appreciate all that they have done, in particular the two presidents, Bob Cosgrove and Carmen Dominguez. Yes, thank you. Very worthy. I'd also recognize some key players. First, everybody that was on our steering committee, but in particular, there are two co-chairs, once again, Bob Cosgrove, and then Rajan Verdeen, of course, who's no longer with us, and then Don Boucher now, who's taking over. But our four standard chairs, which were Diane Pestalacci, Tony Tang, Carol Hilton, and once again, Carmen Dominguez. Would also like to thank our four governance groups, in addition to the Academic Senate, CSEA, and Classified Senate, the wonderful work they did, ASG, and of course our management team. I would like to take this opportunity to once again thank Dave Lang, who was the board representative on Standard 4, who was a tremendous help, not only for the midterm progress report, but of course for this study too. So thank you, Trustee Lang. With that, we're just preparing now for the visiting team. You're going to hear a lot more. We have a new website coming up. We have a new pamphlet we're going to be giving out to all of our personnel on campus and getting prepared for this. So once again, you'll hear more about that. Also, tonight, you had just approved, even though you approved last meeting, we have brought him here tonight. We have a new vice president, and that's Dr. Juan Avalos. I know Don. So Dr. Rand, there you are. Just remind everybody, as you know, fall in service begins on August 16th. You'll be hearing a lot of invitations for various events to come on out. We really hope that you'll be able to make some of those. And then, of course, classes start on August 23rd. Also, if you don't have any plans this Sunday, if you'd like to go see Damn Yankees, it's the final performance for our summer series. So would love to invite you or anybody else in the audience to please join us. Thank you.
Thank you. President Rockmore.
My report is similar. I would like to thank the board for accepting our accreditation report. I have to say that in my history, that has been one of the best processes that I have been involved with. I do not have the lengthy number of participants that Todd was prepared with today, but perhaps I'll have another opportunity. But I would like to thank the accreditation co-chairs, Wendy Gabriella and Jerry Rudman, for their work of keeping all of the various committees together on all of this, and definitely to say that it was refreshing to have our board president, Don Wagner, to be a part of our steering committee and also Standard 4. Again, bringing a perspective that I think was very important for us to have, and I think there was, the colleges grew through that experience. And also our VPI, Craig Justice, who's also our ALO, Accreditation Liaison Officer, who played a major role in this process. So thank you to everyone, and hopefully I'll have the opportunity to thank all of the various sub-chairs that we had that worked on that. I'm sure that our visit will be highly successful. We've just learned that we have a chair for the visiting team. It's a person that I do not know and haven't met before, but currently the president of the college is San Mateo. and we're being told that we may not know the membership of the visiting team for really quite a long time. So, but we'll certainly get that information out as soon as we do get that. But we look forward to the October visit, and I'm sure that we're going to do a very good job. The only other thing, as Todd mentioned, opening day is coming up soon. There'll be invitations coming out, and we certainly look forward to getting the new year started. Thank you.
Thank you. Provost Peebles.
Thank you, President Wagner. Well, ATEP has some good information tonight, progress in several significant items that as we move forward with our newest campus. First of all, the demolition of the existing, or most of the existing buildings at the ATEP site has now been fully approved and will allow the board to move that forward. It's interesting, over a process of 2 years, included approvals from the City of Tustin, U.S. Department of Navy, Defense Base Closure and Realignment Commission, the EPA, the Department of Toxic Substance Control, and even the Regional Water Control Board. Anyway, a significant approval for the district that we can move forward on, which is good news. On another front, we are moving forward to establish a significant partnership with Haas Automation Inc., and that company is one of the world's largest manufacturers of automation equipment. And at a future board meeting, you'll be seeing a donation of significant equipment and resources to establish what we'll call a Haas Technical Education Center, or HTEC Center at ATEP. Last but not least, today in a meeting at the Tustin Zoning Administration at the City of Tustin offices, the district was approved the Concept 3A expansion plan, which we've been working on for almost 16 months for approval, and that was approved by the board, which will now allow the district to proceed with planning and site configurations for the expansion of the Advanced Technology Education Park with maximum flexibility for phasing and construction, and that will move forward for board's further consideration. So that's awfully good news for ATEP and the district. Thank you.
Thank you. No one here from IVC, so let's jump to the Saddleback Academic Senate.
Happy crew from Saddleback. First off, for the Academic Senate of Saddleback, we'd like to give a big welcome and a thank you to the Board of Trustees for appointing our favorite pal, Dixie Bullock, as the acting chancellor. So thank you, welcome. And also we'd like to, of course, from the Academic Senate, we'd also like to welcome our new Vice President of Student Services and re-embrace our Vice President, our acting Vice President of Instruction, Don Boucher, who we all adore as each passing day goes by. So thank you, Don. He's darn swell. I know there's a love affair there. You know what? I probably shouldn't have said that on TV. Anyway, I'd also like to thank you for accepting the report and facilitating its submission to ACCJC, and to thank Trustee Lang for participating in the Saddleback College process. That was a hoot. So thank you so much. And also, thank you for approving the hiring of our new faculty. We're looking forward to welcoming them, and it's always fun to have new energy on campus. Thank you for approving the district budget, because it's always balanced, and I think our executive administrators for all of our institutions do a good job of preparing and planning and taking care of their colleges and their educational sites, and so that we know that when things move forward, that they are carefully planned, and we look forward to seeing future plans coming forward. The Senate's getting ready to welcome our new faculty and develop professional development activities in August, of which you are welcome to come to as many as you want. We're having a special session on the 10+1 of the Academic Senate responsibilities. I'd love to see you there. And also for accreditation, I'd like to do a few other thank yous. When Dr. Verdian left to go become president of Fullerton College, Mickey McCullochek stepped forward and managed the process the last few months, and she did an outstanding job of tying up every little detail, and we're going to be finished, we hope, on this upcoming Thursday. I'd also like to thank my colleague, Russ Hamilton, for a classified Senate, and Delaney Taylor for the ASG. She's the past president of the ASG, and Gretchen Bender and Claire Cesario Silva. And we also were lucky to have Bob Cosgrove, who brought in our editor, Joe Tenervia, who was phenomenal. So it takes a big project, and when you see how beautiful it looks, we can thank Diane Smith, who for her many personal struggles, is doing a brilliant job and a wonderfully artistic job, and we thank her very much for her courageous work on behalf of the college. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Professor Long.
Thank you. Very briefly, on Thursday, we will sit down at the table for the first official negotiating session, and I'm looking forward to working with Dr. Bouguet and the district's team in resolving several complex, although not necessarily contentious issues, and getting through negotiations quickly, and bringing to the board, I hope, very soon, a contract for your approval. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Hamilton.
Classified Senate Executive Board this last month has had its retreat. We've set new goals for the year, discussed goals that we didn't achieve last year, and put them on the top of the list. We confirmed appointments to committees and discussed the future year, especially like the outreach that we do each year to the Camp Pendleton military coming back during the Christmas season. Also, one thing I forgot to announce last month, but here it is. Saddleback College's Classified Senate in statewide competition for their websites took second place. So it was our first time out. Now we're understanding a little bit more of their criteria of how they're judging these competitions, and next year we're looking to be number one. Also, a couple of weeks ago, I attended the Board of Directors meeting with CCLC, where we gladly confirmed the ongoing contract of Scott Lay as our CEO. That was a very nice thing. It was very enjoyable to see Scott staying on for another term. He does a fantastic job for all the colleges throughout the state and for the Community College League. Thank you very much. It's been a very pleasant evening.
Thank you. And she's not wearing two hats, but she's wearing two name plaques. Don Main.
Thank you. IVC Classified Senate has no report this month, and on behalf of CSEA, I would just like to let you know that the CSEA annual conference is next week. There will be 5 delegates attending that, and one of the awards that our CSEA chapter is receiving is actually 4 awards for our chapter newsletter. We're receiving 2 awards of excellence and 2 awards of distinction, and we're really proud of that because it's the first time in many, many years that a Southern California chapter has won any award for the newsletter. And once again, welcome, Dixie. We're very pleased to have you with us. Thanks.
Anything further from any of my colleagues? Trustee Lang.
Note that damn Yankees is damn good, and
Meeting is adjourned.